All right, so today we're going to be going over matrices notes here. So right here, rectangular array consisting of rows and columns. These are your rows, these are your columns, is called a matrix. So a matrix with m rows and n columns is said to be an m by n. So we say the rows first, the columns second. Rows first, columns second. So this right here would be a 1 by 3. This one here would be 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2. So you go rows, columns. So this one here would be a 3 by 4. So matrices can be added or subtracted if and only if they have the same dimensions. So you can only add and subtract if they're both like a 1 by 3 or they're both a 4 by 2. So we're going to go down here and we're going to do some of these problems and we're going to add them only if they're possible. So x and y have the same dimensions. They're a 2 by 3. So to add them, you just add your spots. So you do like 24 and the negative 5, the negative 8 and the 9, the negative 3 and the 17. The negative 4 and the 5, and 6 and negative 5 and negative 17 and negative 2. So subtracting, I'm going to do z minus w, and again, there's a 3 by 2, 3 by 2, so we can subtract them. So I'm going to do negative 3 minus a negative 1, negative 2 minus 9, negative 16 minus a negative 11. So then do 0 minus 15, 12 minus 8, and 9 minus a negative 20. Now, if I try to add w and x, that's a 3 by 2, and this is a 2 by 3. You cannot add those. They have to be the exact same. So this one is not possible. And subtract, I'm just going to do just like the adding, but I'm going to subtract 24 minus a negative 15, negative 8 minus 29, negative 3 minus 17. Then it's negative 4 minus 9, 6 minus a negative 5, negative 17 minus a negative 2. Okay. So scalars can be multiplied by a constant. This is called a scalar. And all you do is you're going to multiply each of the terms by it. So if I want to do 3x, I multiply each one of these numbers by a 3. So I get 72, 3 times that, 3 times negative 3. Oh, and I just realized that I was multiplying out of the camera. So I just multiplied each of these numbers by a 3. 3/4 just means you multiply all of these numbers by a 3/4 instead. So we get negative 3/4, 27/4. I just multiply the 9 by 3 and put the 4 on bottom. So this would be negative 33 over 4. So I didn't have to get a calculator out. So if we're going to do this one here, you would need to do negative 5 times x first, and then you're going to add 2 times my y. So let me grab another sheet of paper real quick for us so don't mess it up. So negative 5 times my x is what you got to do first. So negative 5 times my x, and then plus 2 times my y. So we're going to have negative 120 and we're add 2 times the y to it. Okay, so now we're just going to add up those terms. So that gives me a negative 50. So negative 150, 40, and 58. Where did I mess that up there? Oh, yeah, that's 5 times that should be 40. And then 2 times 29 is 58. So yeah, that should be 98. think the answer key is wrong. And then 15, and that should make 49. 20 and 18 should make 38. That should make negative 40. And that should make 81. So hopefully you see what we're doing here. So 4W minus Z, I'm going to have my 4 times my W real quick, minus my Z. So I'm going to have negative 4, negative 44, and 32. And minus my W. Minus my Z, sorry guys. So I do negative 4 minus a negative 3. 36 minus a negative 2. Then I got negative 44 minus a negative 16. Negative 28. 60 minus 0. 32 minus 12. Negative 80 minus 9. There we go. So these right here, I would add W plus X. I don't know how we did W plus X. That's not possible. We just said W plus X isn't possible. So that one right there wouldn't be possible. We'd have to change that to like maybe Y or Z, I think is maybe what they were meaning to do. And then multiply by negative 3. So we're just going to move on to this one right here. Y minus X, and then we're going to multiply all those answers by a half. So if we do Y minus X, so I'm going to do it in this order now. Minus this one. So we're subtracting here. So I'm going to do negative 39. And that becomes 47. Becomes 20. 9 minus a negative. Negative 11. Becomes 15. And then I got to multiply all of those answers by a half. So then my answer would be negative 39 halves, 47 halves, 20 halves, 13 halves, negative 11 halves, and then 15 halves. Make sure I didn't subtract wrong here. 17. Oh, wait, which one is right here? 29. Isn't that the problem is? 29 and a negative 8. 37. Oh, I did it wrong. 37. So this is 37 here. That's what happens when you can't add. All right, so now on to the back when I am going to multiply these things. So these you're going to need to type these into Desmos. I'm going to try to flip my camera around onto my screen and see if maybe you can see it. So we can multiply the numbers if and only if it's the number of columns in A equals number of rows in B. So if matrix A has the dimensions m times n, and then B has the dimensions n times p, our resulting answer is going to be m times p. So this here has to match that one right there. So we're going to check this first just to see if we would be able to multiply these or not. So let's write these out. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a 4 by 3. This is a 1 by 5. This is a 2 by 4, 3 by 1, 5 by 2. So if we're going to do A times D, that would be a 4 times 3 by a 3 times 1. That 3 and that 3 match, so the answer is yes. The resulting answer is a 4 by 1. So if I do AC, that would be a 4 by 3 times a 2 by 4. Those don't match, so no. B would be 1 by 5 times a 5 by 2. Those match, so yes, we get a 1 by 2. So hopefully you're catching on now. So this is a 1 by 5, and then this is a 3 by 1, so nope. 2 by 4 times 4 by 3. Those match, so yes. 2 by 3, and then E, 5 by 2, and then 2 by 4. So those match, so we say yes, 5 by 4. Okay. So now when we're multiplying these, we used to make you guys multiply these by hand, and the method would be you multiply across and down. So we'd say -4 times 6 plus -9 times -5. And that would be the answer we put in our first block there. Again, I'd say -4 times 6 plus -9 times 5, and that's our first answer. Instead, I'm going to try to show you how you can do it on the computer here. Let me minimize so I can make sure that all right. Sorry, this is taking longer than I had expected. All right. So right here, if I want to do a new matrix, and then our problem said -4, let's see. So I'm gonna let that equal my A. And what I did, sorry, this is I went to desmos.com/matrix. This is where you need to go. And then I'm gonna create a new matrix and call that B. This is gonna be the next one that we had on our paper. And I'm gonna enter that one. And now what I wanna do is I wanna do A times B, enter. And that's our answer right there. So the answer for the one on your paper should be 21, -32, 28, -11. So let's clear all this, and I'm gonna do a new one. So matrix A this time is a, let's see, 2 rows, 3 columns. A, now let's put in B, and B is a 3 rows, 1 column. And now I'm going to say A times B again. So my answer for this, that one is 83, -32. So hopefully you guys can, I'll do one more with you, and you can just check all these yourself. You see, new matrix. This one is a 1 row, 2 column. And I'm going to do a new one. This is by 4. So then when I type this in, you guys, I'm like literally just typing A on my keyboard, hitting the times button, and hitting B on my keyboard, and hitting enter. These are the numbers I'm just writing down for them. So now I'm going to come back down to my paper. And you'll see. So I just put those answers under those spots right there. If you want to check the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and give you your answers. So just go ahead and play around. Make sure you understand how to use the matrix button on Desmos. So that's this answer, and this one was 10, -69, 30, and 52. Down here, if you were going to try to figure out this, you can read the question yourself. Your matrix would be a 6, 4, 5, 8, 2, 3. And then you'd multiply that by a 15, 4, and 2.5. So you just multiply, sorry. So you just need to multiply this in the Desmos calculator, and then it would give you an answer of 118.50 and 135.50. So what this tells me is that Mrs. Smith has 118.50 and Mrs. Willis is 135.50.